Welcome to the Love Disciple podcast. I'm back with another wonderful interview. This time, we are talking about all things grief and grieving and paranormal. Ashley Schmick is our interviewee for today. She is an event planner and floral designer based out of Austin, Texas. I'm going to look at my notes because I've learned that that's just going to be something that helps us out. So, a few things about Ashley. When she's not crafting magical wedding florals or planning events, she's always tapping into her intuition. She's expanding her knowledge through reading cards and practicing a life full of gratitude and positivity. When I met Ashley, I had just experienced the death of my father, and I was scheduled to work an event, a wedding, the day after. Ashley stepped in and she was like, "You're crazy, go home." And she told me she had just lost her mother a few months prior. Afterwards, we connected over grief and what it's like to lose a parent. And so in this episode, we talk about grief, the life after death, and paranormal experiences. So without further ado, Ashley.
Dynamite, I'm blowing up my mind. I wanna be free, I wanna be cool, I wanna be bad.
Perfect. All right, so welcome. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm here with Ashley, and I'm hoping that you can give us a little introduction in your own words. Just let us know who you are and what it is you do.
Yeah, I am Ashley Schmick. I own Ashley Nicole Affair. I also own Flora Affair and wedding planning, wedding florals. We have rentals, we have photo booth. I'm also a hairdresser and a crazy cat lady.
Crazy cat lady. You may see some cats pop in and out throughout this talk. I think the thing that I was most excited to talk to you about is we both connected over a recent loss that we had. And in this episode, this podcast is about spirituality and the people who walk among us. And I know that you have a very special connection with your loved ones. So can you tell us a little bit about your spirituality practice?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because we were kind of raised Christian and I just didn't really know what to believe. But one thing that was really huge with me is I had such horrible, terrible anxiety and this irrational fear of over death because I've never lost anyone. And it was so debilitating as I got older. Like I would think about dying and I would go into like a full blown like blacked out panic attack. And I had in the end of 2020, I found out that my mom had been hiding cancer for 10 months from everyone, my whole family, everyone. And so it was like a really quick she probably at that point had like 10 days or less, but she was a fighter and made it 30 days. And after she died, it was just, when you lose just that one person, it was like I was forced to face my fear head on. And it just, my ways that I found to cope opened just a whole new spectrum. It's like I discovered who I was. It felt like the spiritual connection after that. It took away my fear of death, and I'm closer to my mom more than ever, and I'll kind of get into that. But it's like I just found like my religion to say.
Right. So much has changed for you in that time, and there's so many tools that you use. I know we talked about, before this, we had a chance to talk, and we were talking about some of the things around your house, including oracle card decks, right?
Yes. I went down a rabbit hole. At that point, there was just so much going on in my life. I did not have a ton of support when my mom passed. I just kind of got through it myself. The first thing that started the rabbit hole was audiobooks. And I went down quite the rabbit hole with audiobooks. And then when the day my mom passed, I had never, ever talked to a psychic medium. And I had talked to a friend who told me about one. And I texted her and I was like, I need to talk to my mom. She just died like 3 hours ago. And she's like, well, just with the grief process, like, trying to tell me to wait. I'm like, no, I'm this person. I know me and I need answers. And I need now to know. And it's funny because I know my mom, and my mom, like, her personality would be like, can you just let me get where I'm going before you talk to me? Like, girl, I just died. And I was like, no. So once I talked to the medium, it was wild because she just everything she told me was accurate. And then if there was anything she left out, it made sense later. And I just got so many signs. And then I think what really took it off was the book Signs by Laura Lynn Jackson.
Okay.
Which taught me to like ask for signs, which by the way, I'm going to a psychic workshop with her in a month in San Diego, and I'm so excited. She was on Surviving Death. So then I started asking for signs, and then I just found other mediums, different styles that I connected with, and then through that, I just realized that, like, I mean, we're all psychic, right? Like, we all have intuition, and I think that people... Like, I tell people I'm psychic. They're probably like, you're crazy. But, like, we all are psychic. We have gut feelings. We know when, like, someone's going to call. We have premonitions. And so it really helped me nurture it. And so when I started nurturing my intuition, I just found ways that worked for me. And so then it moved to tarot cards, to, Oracle, just different types of decks. I've done, like, hypno healing. There's just so many like spectrums of it all that it's like went from audiobooks to this, but like I have been just going hard on the Oracle cards for sure. That's like my number one thing right now.
I love looking at your Oracle cards. I definitely want to, can we do one? Is that okay?
Yes. Okay. So these are my favorite. I probably have like 10. It's funny because I started with tarot cards, and they really do, like, when they say about, like, you want to connect with the deck, and I have a tarot card deck that I connect with and one that I don't. And so these are, like, my new favorites. But the flowers is good because I do flowers. But actually, I've been learning a lot about astrology, birth charts, all of that, into crystal stuff lately. So, like, I've really found... Do you know a lot about astrology, birth charts, all that?
I know a little bit, not a lot.
Okay. Well, this one's good to, like, teach you and stuff. So this would be... one of my favorites, but then I also have, but you said, which one did you say you liked?
I was interested in the Starseed
one.
one.
Okay, this is actually a newer one, so this would be my second pick. So the Starseed one, so I started, it's the same person, right?
They look similar.
Yeah, Rebecca. Okay, so I started with the Healing Waters, which was really cool, but the Starseed one is my new favorite because it's more of a kind of like call to action, kind of like guides. So
and starseeds are, from what I understand, they're like people who basically incarnated on this planet from other places to be like a participant in what's going on Earth, right?
I mean, it's so funny because I just got this and I read that and I just learned that. And I'm like, I think you already know more than me because, I was going to just say, I'm like, I should know this. But yeah, have you had longing for a home without knowing where home was, or sense of a knowing deep in your soul? If so, you may be a starseed soul, someone who's incarnated elsewhere in the cosmos before your time on Earth. So this connects you to like your inner guidance, and so they're really pretty. Kind of reminds me, I love Taylor Swift of the Lover album, but I love the colors. But normally too with decks, like if for you, like what I like to do is like I'll knock 3 times to clear my energy out, but I like the person I'm reading to shuffle or mess them up. Have you ever done it that way?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so if you just want to put your energy into it, and then do you have a specific question? Is there something
like on my mind?
Yeah, like a situation, something where...
The main thing that's been on my mind personally lately is just about like my life path, I guess.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think if you need it to be more specific, when I do one, and also this is new to me, so I also read from the book. But I feel like if 1 or 2 fly out, so perfect. So saints, kind of like path in life. So what I usually do, I'm like, I shuffle till 1 or 2 falls out, but when 10 falls out, we gonna be here all day with your life path, girl. We don't have time for that.
I know. I'm like, oh, my life path.
You're right.
It's gonna be long. Oh, I think you've got 2 in there. Is that 2?
Yeah, but they were stuck together, so I don't...
Interesting.
No, so sometimes I'll read it as 2, but I'll just kind of see if... Okay, so that one kind of stuck out to me.
Cool.
Anyway.
Oh my goodness. This is so fun.
Oh, there's 3.
Oh my goodness. It's
okay.
like, girl, your life. Get your life together.
Ooh. Okay.
We saw just like a mass of black.
I know. I'm like, I think this would be the death card, but the death card is actually a good card. So I feel like when we see it, we're like, ooh, we're intrigued by it.
Yeah.
So honestly, there's 4. The first one I would say that like this one was on the top of these, and then that's the one that like flew out to me. But also,
Oh my goodness.
so there's different ways that you can read it, different spreads or anything. So I'm going to see if there's just anything with a 4. And then if not, we'll go. Okay, so here we go. So we have 4 cards for you.
So there's different spreads, different ways to arrange them and then read them based on that?
Yeah, exactly. So like a lot of the times I'll pull a card for like one of say, somebody I'm reading and they'll have a question and I'll do one, but if 2 fly out, then you can do like, like when 2 come out, what your soul wants you to know and the action. So for this, I would say we'll start with the 2 because the first one would be what your soul wants you to know, and then the grounded action. So let's see. So the fall into my arms would be the first one, right?
Right. So it says, do you mind if I pick it up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go for it and show it. Yeah, while I look it up.
So it says, if this is okay, fall. Do you want me to hold it down here? Fall into my arms, surrender, holding the opposites, extremes of life.
So this is what your soul wants you to know. So the Great Mother ushered you in when you took your first breath, and she'll be there when you draw your last. She knows how challenging life can be, that being human can be lonely and confusing, that the polarity and separation can be excruciating when your soul remembers the oneness of Source. But at the same time, it can be incredibly glorious and sweet. So often when we see things as either good or bad, when things go well, we make it mean that we're being rewarded, and when things are bad, we've done something wrong. However, we're all here to expand and grow, and it's through the extremes of life that we do exactly that. You're being invited to welcome the highs and the lows of the human experience, to let them initiate you more fully into life. Could this not be more fitting? The agony and the ecstasy, the beauty and the bitterness. This life is but a single breath in the inextinguishable existence of your experience as a soul. The Great Mother wants you to hand over your loneliness, worries, hurt, sorrow, fears, burdens, and doubts, to lay them on her altar, to fall fully into her arms, to remember that while these extremes are difficult, they can be magnificent. The more wildly the pendulum of your life swings, the more truthfully you can say, I've truly lived. And the quote says, I'm ready to embrace the extremes of my life. I lay all that I'm carrying into the Great Mother's altar and fall completely into her arms.
Oh, wow.
So then,
my dad would always tell me, don't be so extreme, because he's so extreme.
That's so words stick out a lot to me, and that's huge. Is that a word that I get a ton is balance. And then Rachel, my assistant, I think, gosh, what's the word? I think it was like power or something. But yeah, so extreme. So that's interesting that stuck out to you. And I do feel like right now with what it's kind of saying is that, the loss has brought you here and you have experienced the highs and the lows. And if there's anyone that I think that can make, any, like, you're just what you do and what you talk about and how passionate you are, like, I feel like that card was definitely meant for you. So then the Void, the black card.
Which I love. I love the Void. So this is the Void card. It says, stop, embrace winter, great cosmic womb. And I have a lot of, like you were talking about astrology, I have a lot of mother placements. Like I have a Cancer moon, and Cancer is the mom. And then I'm here to step into my Virgo rising, which is also the mother energy. So I love that. It's like a great manifestation energy.
Yes, I love it. So yeah, grounded action to take the Void. So stop, embrace winter, great cosmic womb. Everything and nothing exists in the Void. It's where all life begins and ends. It's the winter in the womb, the fertile darkness where all things originate and all seeds grow. Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps. Comforting and intimidating, freeing and daunting. It can feel both overwhelmingly small and huge. The Void is where faith lives. The message of the Void is to surrender to the unknown. I think you're doing great at that. To allow the fertile darkness of nothingness to nourish the new seeds growing within you, regardless of whether you know what they'll one day become. You're being called to surrender to the mystery of what's next, to rest and to allow the winter of your life to do the work for you, to hand over your control and trust that just because you can't see what's happening beneath the surface, it doesn't mean things aren't at work. The greatest weavings happen when we find a way to surrender and trust that our life is being knitted for us right beneath the surface, in ways known and unknowable. Now is the time to cultivate faith and allow deep, deep rest. I have goosebumps again. I'll get into that too. The void often surfaces at the end of a chapter or life phase when we're called to let go of all that we can know and identify. When you're in the void, it can feel scary and as if you should be doing something. However, when these cards appear, it's a sure sign that the most productive thing to do is relinquish control and surrender to the changing mystery of your life.
But I love control.
So that's where, no, I kind of agree too, but like that's another thing that I've learned about this too, is that more than anything, it's just trusting the process, being open, letting go. And so, you know, I think that there is so much control and there's, you know, in life, I think that we all have like our destiny and our path, but there's free will and how we take it, you know, but I think overall, you know, since I've known you and like the evolution of knowing you, I do feel like you have been able to surrender and, you know, discover new sides of yourself.
Right. There's a lot going on here, and I love that we got a chance to read this. One thing that stood out to me though was you were talking about your goosebumps.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
So I don't know exactly all the clairs, but there's like clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentience, and it's just, you know, the different ways we, like psychics can hear. Some people hear things, some people see things, some people lucid dream, some people don't. I just have this feeling of knowing, and that's probably, as far as my intuition, I don't have, you know, vivid dreams. I don't have lucid dreams. I can't talk to my mom. I don't hear voices, but I feel things, and it's big on energy. And it's like I can just read people's energy, but when I've only discovered this recently since I've been getting into the cards, but when I like just feel like it's like the right thing, or we're talking, or the right path, or it's the right message, like I just randomly will get goosebumps. Like it's just that feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Of like things being aligned.
Yeah, like this is like, yeah, like you're talking about this, like this seems like the right card for you. Or what did I happen the other day? I was talking about a past situation with a friend of mine, and we brought up like a new perspective to look at it, because I think that it had to do with energy. And I was telling her that when you take on someone, I'm just an empath. I absorb everyone's energy. And my friend got really sick after her mom's funeral, and she was telling me it was food poisoning. And I realized yesterday when we were talking, and I was like, I realized that I will take energy and I physically manifest it. If it's negative, like I'm tired, like I feel like I have a fever, but it's kind of like, you know, when we were talking about this, and then I realized, I was like, are you an empath? And she didn't want to admit it. She was like, I mean, and I'm like, I just had goosebumps everywhere. And I was like, you are. And I was telling her, I was like, I don't think you had food poisoning. Like, I think that you sucked in that energy. And so I feel like it's just assurance of what we're talking about, or just, you know, being at the right place at the right time with who you're supposed to be, kind of thing.
Right. I feel that for sure. So have you used these tools to help you navigate situations in your everyday life?
Yes. Oh yeah, all the time. I like to pull cards with my employees to kind of like set the tone, and it's been so funny because they're all so different. And so, you know, I will use a different deck, same deck, but like the message is just always really accurate. And I don't think it's not like coincidental. Like I think these cards are very specific that you can't just relate it to everything. And so when you're shuffling in the energy, you know, your energy, and I, you know, thinking about it, and a card like flies out, like, you know, it just has been so helpful and kind of leaves my day. It kind of gives me a little reset. If I'm having a bad day and I'm like, I just need to pull a card.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I totally get that. I love these cards. I can't wait to look at those. I want to look at those after we're done filming and see like if I can learn a little bit more.
I know, and you have two more too. Your other two that were messenger Sirius energy, bringing harmony and balance, which messenger too, kind of like what you're doing. And then all paths lead home, inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within.
That's so funny, all paths lead home and messenger, because that's what this podcast is about bringing the message to humanity that all paths lead home. Like, it doesn't matter if you use oracle cards or if you listen to any other person on our podcast and their path. Like, every path is going to lead you to yourself, and everybody's path is unique. There's 9 billion people. How many people are there? And there's as many paths as there are.
Yeah, and so, there's different spreads and ways to read it, but I can see how all 4 of these are really fitting to you specifically, and what we're doing and what we're talking about, and the vulnerability and the great unknown, and the whole message of it all. I think, yes, I love it.
It's awesome. So we're gonna take a quick break, and hopefully when we get back we can get into some things about grief specifically.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Ashley Schmick is an incredible entrepreneur, and she runs multiple businesses, and I want to share a few of them with you here now while we're on a quick commercial break. Fleur Affair, her wedding floral company, is one of her companies, along with her planning company, Ashley Nicole Affair, and her newest vertical, Fleur Collective Studios, which is a series of studios for photography, co-working, and bridal glam. Based out of Austin, Texas, Ashley travels all around Texas and even into New Mexico to serve her clients, couples who want jaw-droppingly designed weddings with a white glove, luxurious level of attention. You can connect with Ashley through her Instagram, which is 3 Moon Empress, for more of her spiritual journey, readings, and for more details on how to work with her.
So we left off talking about, of course, the oracle cards, and that's something that is new in your life post Mama Rita passing away.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your experience, the moment when you knew that she had passed.
Oh my gosh, actually, see, I just got goosebumps again. It was so crazy because I had no clue that she was okay, so she hit her head December 22nd and went to the hospital. And looking at the progression of her cancer, it had metastasized her whole body. It was in her lymph, heart, all the way up to her brain. And so when she fell, it was, and then her symptoms and not being able to use her legs or anything, that aligned with 10 days or less. That was December 22nd.
Oh, wow.
And so she passed January 28th. Mm-hmm. And I was able to go out and see her. It was kind of, I ended up, it was a very toxic, traumatic experience because of how things are with my dad. Mm. But I got the goodbye that I wanted. It was really hard during COVID. So the last time I saw her was January 18th. I flew home and I was going to fly back. And I got really, really sick. And I was like, I don't think I can go. And at that time, my brother was flying in, and he was in Ukraine, and he flew in. And when he was there, I just think everything happened the way that it should for me getting sick, because I don't think I would have been able to go back and handle an actual goodbye. Mm-hmm. So the night before, she was texting me, and we were talking, and I asked her to talk on the phone. She said, too tired to talk. And then she said, love you so much. And she's just always said, love you. But it was so much. And I just put love you too much. And then that night, oh gosh, it was weird. I went to bed early, and then I woke up at 1, and I could not sleep at all. It was so strange. So I watched all these random TV shows. I got a snack. I kept trying to go to sleep. And then I was I need to go to bed. So at 3:30, I put my phone down and I rolled over and just it was on silent, do not disturb. And then I just had this to look at my phone, and I looked at my phone and I missed a call from my dad. And I called him back right away. And it was 3:32, and she was passing at that moment. He said a prayer with me on the phone. So it was just very weird, because then when I ended up talking to the medium, she was 1 a.m. sounds familiar and 3:30 a.m. sounds familiar. And that was I think And she also, the medium said that she was very tired and that she had to put that energy into passing. And so it was crazy because my brother was in town and he was able to help her with like finances, getting the bank accounts, to my dad getting all the information, which like that's totally his job. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that. And he left for the night. And it was like, I just felt like she had held on long enough to be like, you know, like, I've given you, like, it is time. I'm tired. Like, she felt that my dad was taken care of. And just like down to my brother being there and my brother, you know, having to be there in the morning and, you know, having them come. And like, as traumatic and terrible as it was still a beautiful experience. And like, it's just really weird that like, why did I wake up? Why did I put my phone down? And then I looked at it again and I have the voicemail because he started to pray and then I called him back. So it was like cool to actually like being there as she was passing.
Right. Yeah. Did you have like any strong emotions once you knew she was gone, or what did it feel like?
Oh my gosh. It was so, everything I think was just very unexpected. And I think this kind of goes into how they talk about the old, you know, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, like the 5 stages of grief and it being outdated. And, you know, I've listened to a lot of audiobooks. There's that great one with David Kessler about, I forgot what it's called, but, you know, and he talks about that model too. But there was like, I do think it's outdated because I didn't feel all the things. I wasn't really ever in denial, I would say. I wasn't angry. Even though she hid it from us, I know why. And I know she just was tired. She didn't want to do treatment. And I just think that everything happened the way that it was supposed to. I don't feel, and I kind of think this goes back into the Claire thing. Like a lot of people, when somebody passes, say like a heart attack, they're like, I just remember getting a sharp pain in my chest and like the time aligned or, you know, something. But I just don't think I feel on that level that it was like my intuition knew to be there for her passing. And I knew what I was in for, you know, would be a lot, but it was so unexpected. And I think that's when, you know, I just, after she passed, I didn't go to sleep. I stayed up. And I went and I got Starbucks and I went and I watched the sun rise. And I have the picture on my computer. I'll send it to you, but it was the most insane. I mean, I've seen sunrises before, but it was just insane. And I just was sitting there in like a field, just pulled on the side of the road. And I was like, listen just to music. And I was just watching the sunrise. And like, you know, it was almost healing.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like closer to her then.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know. But yeah, one of the things that we talked about also was that you feel like you're closer to your mom now than you were before. How is that possible?
I know. It's so crazy that I like literally, I can't, there's not enough time to ever explain the amount of signs and reasons how I am closer to her now. My mom had me at 42. And I was the 4th child. So, you know, and she passed when she was 74. So it was like, the way that I've described my life to people is that I had grandparents as parents. I've never had grandparents because they're parents. But, like, it was just very, like, my mom didn't only text the last few months. Like, when she emailed me, it was like in all caps and the whole body was in the subject line. And so it was just a very different, like, generational kind of thing. And so we connected, but very differently. And there was very emails. She didn't make tons of phone calls. She came in town once a month, but I was a 4th kid. So, but now it's like I asked for signs. That was the first thing. And I have gotten crazy signs. I asked for the night that I said, show me a sign if I should file for divorce, if you think that this is the right move. And I have a video on my Ring camera, and it's very crazy. There are 2 distinct orbs, and it records it, but it's outside of the motion zone. You can see it coming in, and, like, you can zoom in, and it's just, like, if you say it's a bug, like, there's no way that's a bug. So I saw that video, and I was like, okay. So I just started asking for things. And something that's huge is the number 1111, and the medium told me that. So every time I see 1111, the Other things, cardinals are huge. Every time I've asked to see a cardinal, and I only do it on like her birthday, her passing, my birthday, but I will see one and it will be crazy. Like, it was her birthday. I was remembering her and I was in San Antonio at a resort and will write down, like I write letters to her and I'm like, show me a cardinal. And there was one and it flew down and then it like kept moving and it was like hopping almost like circular around me. And I see you. I'm like, hi mom. Thank you. And then it flew off. But so I have like a lot of random cardinal stuff. So the signs started helping, but then I just kept connecting through a medium. Mm-hmm. And I've done so many random things along the way. I wrote the people who lived at the house that I grew up at in Omaha. I wrote them a letter. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, my name's Ashley. I'm a wedding planner. Can I put some of my dead mom's ashes in your backyard? I used to grow up here. I have the letter. And then she texts me, oh my God, the most amazing people ever. Yeah. She, I just made friends with it. I flew to Omaha. They picked out a plant for me, a sangarita plant and a banana tree. Mm-hmm. They got it. I went there. I met them. I got to see my childhood home. They're a little bit younger than me. And planted her ashes in the backyard with a banana tree. She still sends me pictures all the time. Oh, wow. That, which I know the 602, we can show it later. So they made that. So they remodeled the house. Oh, wow. And that was a piece of the trim from the wall. And then he got 602, the address, and he made that for me. That's awesome. I just started asking for signs and reassurance and just, connecting through the medium. It was so shocking at first. Yeah. She would tell me things that were going to happen that did happen. And then now it's so not shocking because it's almost like she's telling me things as if my mom was right there. Mm. Like she is telling me things as they are happening. At one point, it was January 11th last year, she had told me, and her name's Angie. She always brings my mom through. And my mom's like, talk, which is funny because in person, my mom wasn't like that because she was controlled by a narcissist. And so now it's like this person is who she always was and wanted to be, without, being, generationally, she was married for 50 some years and a little bit brainwashed and there's just a lot of trauma. But I know her as her authentic self and who she wanted to be. And I think it's so cool now because I just feel she gets to see me live the life. She never knew she was more than a housewife. And she was never, ever missed a day. She just always told me how proud she was of me. And she just really, really never, ever, she was the only, she just made me feel so special. And I feel it and I know and I can see that I'm still making her proud. And she's leading me there too.
Yeah. And helping you figure out what's next for you as well, right?
Yeah. Another thing too is The Secret, which is so outdated. I think, when did it come out? The
80s, right?
I think the book in the 80s, but in the early 2000s.
The movie?
So the movie. Okay, yeah. So the book.
When did that come out?
Oh, wait. Well, maybe it was already done in 2006.
Oh, maybe it was 2006. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm this looks like it's from the 70s.
It does look old.
But the movie, you can watch it on Prime, but it's so terribly, because it's a documentary dramatization in the early 2000s.
Right.
It's a terrible movie if you're watching it for the film aspect, but if you're watching it for the message, it's incredible. And so I started watching it, but my dad threw a bunch of stuff in a box and mailed me it. And one thing was The Secret. And it's funny because she, oh my gosh. Well, not good thing they're numbered. She put work into these. And so it's so crazy to me because, I love her handwriting. So, there's just so many things that are highlighted.
Yeah.
And there's, this is important. So it says, when you say to yourself, I'm going to have a pleasant pleasant visit or a pleasant journey, you are literally sending elements and forces ahead of your body that will arrange things to make your visit or journey pleasant. When before the visit or the journey or the shopping trip, you are in bad humor or fearful or apprehensive of something unpleasant, you are sending unseen agencies ahead of you, which will make some kind of unpleasantness. Our thoughts, or in other words, our state of mind, is ever at work fixing up things good or bad in advance. And it says a must do. And it's true because, yeah, like this one says, awesome, powerful. You are creating your life intentionally. Like thoughts become things. Like how you speak to yourself matters. And I just started realizing all of this stuff that embarrassed me about my parents growing up. That's like after my mom died, like I became that person. Like I was so mortified that they would meditate. I'd want my friends to come over and they'd be like, shh. And I'm like, well, my parents are meditating. But like everything that like I've always just been like kind of weirded out about, it's like it all came and I just absorbed it at such a different level. It's like understanding my spirituality and finding my own religion and, you know, what I believe in the universe. And it's like signs, you know, just that still keep happening. But like for me, I am all about manifesting. I am all about just, you know, positive, how you talk to yourself, what you want. If I want something, I will just stop and I will just write it down. And like, it gets powerful. I had to stop with, I'll tell you about my journal, but I had to stop because everything I was writing was happening. I was like, okay, I can't, this thing's powerful.
Tell me about the journal. That was the book you're going to recommend to us, right?
Okay, the 5-minute journal. Okay, so and they're also like the cat hair and stuff. They're also like the gratitude journal, but basically every morning, okay, so we basically only see 20% of what's out there. Like when we wake up, we have Facebook, we have the news, like our brains are just infiltrated. So like it's really important when you first wake up, your mind is fresh. Like that is like your number one time. Just take 5 minutes. And the way that this is structured is that you put the date and then you put 3 things you're grateful for, but you write it in future tense as if you already have it. So today, like I wrote, one of them today was that I'm grateful for being approved to assume my mortgage. I've been trying to assume it since August, and it's been a long process. And I looked at my thing coming in the mail, and I have a letter coming in today from Chase. And so I'm like assuming my approval on that. So I write 3 things I'm grateful for in present tense, and then what would make today great. And I write that in present tense, a daily affirmation. Sometimes I struggle with those. That's why I like affirmation cards or something.
Yeah.
So I'll pull one of those. And then for me, the hardest part is at the end of the day, there's 3 parts, highlights of the day and what did I learn today. And so I just will say that like for this, you just give it what you can, because there's a lot of times where I don't fill out the highlight of the day. And it's fine. And then I've had times where I forced myself. Something that was, well, really crazy is that it was on, I can go back to dates of like things that have happened.
Yeah.
But there was one, okay, so I'm grateful for, this is July 5th, I put new connections in my life.
Yeah.
This was, somebody reached out to me on Facebook that day, and like trying to be vague, but not. But anyways, she was just somebody through my ex husband, and she knew him, and she reached out to me. Long story short, we talked on the phone, and we have become great friends since then.
Yeah.
So it's just so funny. So like highlights of the day, I was like, I put her name 3 times, and so, you know, I think that it works. Like it just really, it's how you talk to yourself, and you just talk to it like, you know, you have it, and you just have to trust the process, you know. But this, I got on Amazon, 5-minute journal or gratitude journal. I always get it with affirmation cards just because the daily affirmations are hard to come up with. So I'll pull a card and so that. But yeah, so I'm like, just kind of all about manifesting. But that's really been like the thing that's helped me a lot with grief. That's been huge. We also are, my company, we volunteer every year. Well, the first year we went, we sponsored, and then we did it pro bono, but now we do the Austin Center for Grief and Loss Gala every year. They're holders of hope in October.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, you know, their support groups were a huge thing that helped me. And so I absolutely love being a part of that. And then just having, the TikTok and trying to educate people. And, I was afraid of death and I was afraid of everything. And then I faced it head on. And, I think that it changed and it brings people into my life. And I mean, I was trying to tell earlier about you. I'm trying to remember the day with your dad passing. I don't remember why I was there because I don't think I was doing flowers. I think I had to pick something up from Brandon.
I don't remember, but you did step in. I was working. I was scheduled to work, and I was going to go through with it. But
you were.
You took over for me, so I really appreciate that.
No, well, it was crazy because that's where I just think that's where our story started, and it was after, what was the date?
It was October 3rd.
2020.
2021.
2021. Okay, that's crazy. Okay, so my mom was January 28th, 2021. I don't think I was doing flowers then, but I think I had to go meet Brandon. So I came to the venue and he told me, and he's like, she's gonna work. And I was like, no, I mean, I think that's what her mind wants to do but I think that she needs to, experience things. And I was like, can we tell her to go home and then I've got it? And then you're just like, I'm fine, I'm gonna work. And I'm like, you don't have to, you can go hold space for yourself. And so, that's kind of how we met too. And I just think being at the right place at the right time. And I didn't even know how to work the printer. And I'm like, just teach me and you go take care of yourself. But I just think, I think that was my mom, again, putting our paths colliding and, such a sad and vulnerable but beautiful way too.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, it was a really vulnerable moment. I felt like I had been lobotomized kind of at that point in time, because it's you're struggling so much to deal with this person that you talk to every day being gone. And then you're like, okay, well, I need support. I need to talk to someone. And then you reach out to the person that you talk to every day and they're not there. So it's just this feedback loop of just vulnerability, and you're just reaching for your anchor, and you just have to readjust where your anchor is and where your center is. So it was really hard, and I appreciate you being there.
Oh, I mean, I'm glad that our paths crossed, and it's, the grief club is, Dead Parent Club's not a fun one to be in, but we're all gonna be there. And I think that, we can only show support and find new anchors. And that's kind of where I struggle now, is that, my mom was the one that I called when really good things happened and really bad things happened. And then being, divorced, it's I don't have that person anymore. But it's I still can write her. I can still talk to her. I can still have that anchor, energy, we just transform. It just transitions, Yeah. But it was, I think, just everything for me has just become a really full circle moment because of my grief. And I never, ever, I never would believe that I could get through anything that I've got through. And I got sober 5 years ago. And, I never was tempted to drink. There's a lot of unhealthy ways I think I would have coped in the past. And, I've done therapy, audiobooks, meeting people. I think connecting through people's been really helpful. But, I think taking a healthy approach and facing it has been huge. And it changed a lot for me. And I'm just so thankful for the people that it's brought into my life. And, being able to just help others and educate others and just know that it's okay to not be okay,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for talking with me. I super appreciate it. It was so much fun. And how can people connect with you on TikTok or Instagram to learn more about you and what it is you're doing here with your grief work and everything?
Yeah, I have. Okay, so the last medium reading I said is that she actually came up with the name, because I didn't know what to call my whole spiritual side of things, but and I've been into astrology lately. So on TikTok and Instagram, it's at 3 spelled out THRE Moon Empress. But it was just really crazy. I was talking to my mom through the medium, and then she was like, yeah, you need a brand. And she had brought up I have it all recorded, but all of a sudden we came up and I was 3 Moon Empress, and she was like, that's it. And she was like, that's what it's supposed to be. So 3 Moon Empress spelled out, and that's Instagram and TikTok. And then for weddings, we're Ashley Nicole Affair. And I try to combine the two because I like to be very authentic about who I am, what I believe in, and, you know, just trying to reach people. And, you know, so at Ashley Nicole Affair for weddings. And, like, if you ever need some oracle cards at your wedding.
Absolutely. That sounds like a fun wedding.
Yay!
Well, thank you.
I'm
And
glad to be here.
yeah, we're happy. Thank you so much.
Yay,
Appreciate
it's
you.
been fun.
Bye.